Hello my friends and welcome back to MCrooks Space Program. I wasn't actually planning to do another one of these, but I decided to do a fifth and final one because I actually just wanted to talk about these kind of games. So I have played a little bit in between the last episode and this one. Just done a few contracts and not really accepted anymore. Just finished up the ones that I'd taken previously. I saw a contract to do which looked interesting. I'm going to re-find it now. Which is to reach a certain altitude, but I don't know where the hell it's gone. Oh, this is to reach a certain speed. Oh, here we go. This is the one. To get a liquid fuel engine to 200 and between 200,000 and 210,000 meters. It seems fun. So let's do it. I can't remember what the exact height you need to reach to obtain orbit is. Oh well, I'll leave it for now. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about these kind of games. They always... So, this is like Oxygen Not Included, and this, and even SimCity, I guess. Although SimCity doesn't have the issue so badly. And I'm talking about like SimCity 4, the original series of SimCity games, not that monster abomination that came out not so long ago, which everyone is busy trying to forget. So it always reaches a point where the game sort of becomes like really grindy or really mind-bending, and it just kind of drives you mad after a while. And you know, a lot of the reason why that happens is something I highlighted in the previous video, which was that you end up needing outside the game tools to actually enjoy the game. So when I was like struggling to put this rocket, you know, to make a 4-piece rocket or whatever and make it straight and all that kind of thing, you know, and then you go on Steam or whatever and you see that people have made these amazing spacecraft that are just perfect. You ask those people how they made them, and often it's like, oh yeah, you know, I used this tool, or I loaded it up in 3D Max, or whatever, or I edited the file directly, or... You know, it becomes impossible to achieve these things that people do inside the game, because things just get exponentially more complicated, and as they do, the cracks in how the game works really start to show themselves. So like Oxygen Not Included had this issue where once your base got over a certain size, it was very difficult to get your dupes to do anything except for run around and take care of their needs. Because as the base got bigger, they just became more awkward to wield. And there are lots of ways to deal with that, in that you can, you know, get doors and lock them, and then lock them into certain sections of the base and all that kind of stuff to try and reduce the area in which they operate and all that kind of stuff. And it's just tedious, and it takes tons and tons and tons and tons of time, and like I have a base in that game that I quite like and I've done a lot of work on, but you know, it takes all day just to redesign one system to make it a bit more efficient and all that kind of thing. And then you ask people how they made these big, fantastic, sprawling bases that you know, have all these very creative and clever sort of ways of doing things, and you find out that most of the time they've just opened up the dev tools and just built it without actually using the minions to build the stuff. They've just built it using God mode. And therein lies the problem. In that a lot of these sandbox things are very good in the beginning, but reach a point where they become a pain in the ass later down the line. How many of these do you reckon I need to get up to that height? Let's try this many. I'm just guessing. There's no way to calculate it. That I can do in 5 minutes anyway. So, yeah. Now, SimCity doesn't have this problem in that the cracks in the game don't really show. Once you have like a truly enormous city, the simulation starts to really struggle and the cracks start to show. But the cracks start a lot earlier in many of these games. RimWorld, for example, starts to, especially if you play on the harder difficulties, it starts to generate, you know, randomly spawned waves that are basically impossible to handle unless you have some really cheesy, gamey sort of meat grinder kind of base defense, if you know what I mean. And it just becomes more and more annoying to play and micromanage as it goes on, because it doesn't scale very well. Oxygen not included, and RimWorld, they don't really scale very well. Once you've got tons and tons and tons of dudes, it becomes ever more difficult to control them and make them behave and all that kind of thing. Unless, of course, you do what my wife does and mod the game so that it's much, you know, that the guys spend less time wandering around doing stupid stuff. But I'm not really a fan of having to edit the game to actually make the game fun. I say this and I play modded Battletech stuff all the time, but that's different. And often the mods don't fix the fundamental problem, which is, you know, in the case of this game, it's the system for building is very awkward to use once you start trying to build more than one rocket. If I want to build 2 rockets or 3 and link them together, it becomes a total nightmare. Right, we need to change the scheduling here. Launch, disconnect, parachute. There we go. Let's test it. Let's save it first. See how high it goes. Yeah, it's a bit of a meandering sort of thoughts here that I wanted to get out of my head, but a lot of these games sort of come apart because they become grindy or they don't scale very well, basically. But I still love SimCity, because even though the simulation does really start to struggle and go a bit bizarre when you get to 2 billion people plus, like I have, it's still a brilliant game. But a lot of the other games, I think like Twin Peaks Hospital, Theme Park Hospital, and Dungeon Keeper, and so on, all have the same issue in that once you start getting to a huge number of visitors or staff members or whatever, you have the infamous theme park one is you have like 20 janitors, and they're like a wall going around the park cleaning, and then there's like sections of the park that never get cleaned. So what you have to do, you have to assign them patrol areas, And if you assign them patrol areas, you need a staff room inside each patrol area, otherwise they'll never go to the staff room. So then you find your park has got like, 8 staff rooms and all these patrol areas, and just, and then someone leaves, quits, or fires, or gets fired, or whatever. One of your staff members disappears, and then you have to hire another one, and you have to work out which area he was looking after and put him back, and it becomes a total micromanagement nightmare, and I can't stand it. Why aren't we going anywhere? Okay, something's wrong. And we're gonna have to work out what that is. The fuel does not seem to be connected to the engine, even though it is. What is the problem here? Okay, so here's all the liquid fuel. Don't know what these arrows do. Maybe I have to turn all these on. Maybe you can stage them or something. Strange. I don't know, let's try this. Not really explained to me, but okay. Why are these not working? Okay, now it sees the fuel. That's how I had it before. Does it, like, need to be elevated off the ground to work? Is that the issue? Well, the question is, how am I going to do that? And also, how do I rotate this thing? These landing struts are kind of useless because they seem to be a fixed length as well. I've not found a way to extend them. No idea. Maybe I need to, like... Okay, this is kind of cheating, but whatever. Huh, that's weird. It's shielded. Shielded it for me. That's weird. And interesting. Maybe I have to build a whole structure underneath it. Nothing is happening. Alright. Just goes to show how little I understand about this game. Now, you know, I would love to just actually build a platform to hold this up. But it does not seem to be very easy to do. I can always jettison this bit later. I'm still convinced that the reason why it's not firing is because it's touching the ground. So let's see if that is the reason. Might not be the reason, I might be missing something else that's really obvious. Alright, nothing is happening. These fuel tanks are not... But it says here that their fuel is available for this engine. Because there's a liquid fuel bar. And so, here we are, back in the manual. Yeah, well, it's not really very helpful. Yeah, that's great and everything, but that's not helpful for what we are trying to do here. Variable thrust require fuels of liquid and oxidizer attached, which this does have in this case. Okay, so I don't get why this isn't launching, because it should. The manual is thoroughly unhelpful. Let us revert this flight. Back to vehicle assembly. Okay, is there anything else that I have that might allow me to get this to go? Nope. Nope. No, there literally just isn't. There isn't any other bits. It's even correctly saying here what the speed would be and the amount of burn is. Isn't that weird? This is really, really terrible support structure here, but it's stable enough. I should obviously use a side, what do you want to call it, jettisoning device or whatever, to jettison the struts once we're in the air. But I just want to get the engine working first. And I genuinely don't see what the issue is. You know what? We want to get in the air, let's get it in the air. Maybe this kind of engine only works once it's actually going. Once you're actually flying. Now, one thing I do need is a decoupler, but not a circular one. It doesn't look like I have actual side decouplers yet. I know they exist. Oh well, let's try this just for fun. Well, that's something that we can fix now, isn't it? Let's leave this area. I have enough money to upgrade the launch pad. 31 parts. There we go. Upgrade. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure that side decoupling is around here somewhere. More fuel tanks and liquid engines, but that's not what I'm interested in right now. That's another decoupler, but not a side one. There we go, radial decoupler, perfect. I knew it existed. Mad science going on here. Alright, radial decoupler. Right, hang on, 1 second. You wait there. There we go. Well, I guess I need a fourth one because we've sort of ended up in a quad design, as it were. Oh, Kerbal will be proud of this stupid idea. Oh, come on, get on there. There we go. Right. Where are they? 4 engines first. Then we jettison them. And hopefully, at the same time that we jettison them, we ignite our new engine. This is quite the science project. Vehicle assembly building can't support units over this many parts. Don't be like that. Ah, oh, I meant to be upgrading it. Right click. Alright, I can just about afford it. Oh well, I wasn't planning to play for much longer anyway, so there we go. Can we go now? Huzzah! It's wobbling quite a bit. This is not good, but okay. We will survive. Kerbal most likely won't survive, but we will. Hey, it's going. No. It's spinning. Let him go. Save the Kerbal. I think it needs some more aerodynamics. It sort of went for a minute there, though. That engine did not fire. This is so dumb, but whatever. Whatever it takes to make it fly up. Oh, that one's upside down. All right. I still can't get this liquid fuel engine to fire. I don't know if if I have to be in the sky before it fires or what. I'm gonna look this up on a wiki later and find out something stupid and simple that I totally overlooked. Hey, it's working! Alright, fuel's exhausted. See ya. And the main engine has not fired. And since the main engine has not fired, we are left to our fate. What a nightmare. Here I am, Googling it. Oh, it might be a bug. Got the exact same problem. All right, well, apparently these fuel tanks are not the correct fuel tanks, I think. That might be the issue. These are FL-T100 fuel tanks. And this is a T45 engine, so this might be the issue, is the fuel tanks don't match. But the game doesn't really make that obvious. But one other thing to try is to increase the throttle to maximum, so let's try that as well. Zoom out. Hey, it's going! My terrible cruise missile is actually flying. And is in a terrible spin. Oh, right. I had to turn up the throttle. So there was two possible issues, and it turned out to be the throttle one. But once again, this is not really made obvious to you. Now what I will do is I will actually set all the engines to go off. We can jettison the stabilizers once we're higher. Alright. It's going. The moment I lose the stabilizers, it's done. The balance on the main rocket is terrible. Well, we definitely aren't going to be achieving 200,000 meters with this. That is for certain. I could totally rescue the pilot, but that's not the issue here. Let's delete these stabilizers, they're no good. I think they only confuse the rocket. Oh. Why did that happen? There's no way to undo this move. Alright, 1 second. Come on. This game also can't seem to tell when you want to take a particular piece. Oh well, whatever. Just rebuild it and they will come. Oh, I nearly forgot my decoupler. Okay. This design tool is just really finicky and awkward and just a total pain to use. Alright, that should do it, hopefully. The crew has been removed. Alright. Let's try this again, shall we? At least it's stable and it flies. Until I get to the phase where I ditch the stabilizers. There we go. Now leaving Earth, or Kerbal. Probably could do with a heat shield. Well, this is the highest I've ever gone. I don't know if I should just ditch the whole lot and just send the pod up. Kerbals go to space! Alright, the Spez music has started. I think gravity might get us though before we escape. We'll see. In theory, I should be able to lose the rocket now. There's no atmosphere, so we shouldn't need any stabilization anymore. This guy is leaving forever. Maybe. Well, this has been fun. I'm running out of speed though. I might not make it to the goal. We're coming back down. Well, we didn't quite meet our objective, but we certainly got very high. I could certainly fiddle with it, add some heat shields, maybe add a bigger solid launch booster to get it higher. It works. Just took a bit of faffing around. But this is the thing, it's like I'm really sort of it's very important to me to do things really sort of in a tidy way. And you know, because the build system is just so awkward, it's very hard to actually do things in a perfectly tidy way. You know, I'd want these to be at exact right angles and these things to be at exact right angles and all the rest of it. And it's just not going to happen. And I'm sure that there are some tools here which I'm not fully aware of or don't understand that might fix this issue for me. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to talk about these kind of games and why I don't generally enjoy them past a certain amount. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy them, because I played Oxygen Not Included a huge amount, a vast amount, and SimCity an unbelievable amount of hours, probably measured in tens of thousands. But I find myself playing the first sort of 30 or 40 hours and then moving away to the next game, as it were, not continuing on and on and on. Just because of the many things that I've sort of mentioned in this. But anyway, we built a proper rocket with 4 boosters and 2 stages, so we've achieved something here, and we got 2/3 of the way to our objective height. So there are changes to this design that we could make that would allow us to go the extra distance. But yeah, these kind of games are fun to just sit by yourself and tinker with for a long time. I don't think that would be very entertaining, to be fair and honest. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and hopefully this gives Michael some ideas on how to play it, how to at least achieve a lot of the early and sort of mid contracts. I don't think you can achieve the exploration ones until you have aerodynamics, so you'll have to get aerodynamics first before you can make an aircraft or whatever and fly around and do these visit location ones, missions that require very specific heights as well. But certainly this will get you to space with a few changes. Probably make these bigger boosters and maybe run this fuel rocket further down. And you might have to add some heat shields or whatever, because it was starting to get very hot towards the end there. But then again, this is a veritable speed rocket, so you could just down the throttle a bit and run it for longer to avoid the heat build-up from going too fast. So there may be adjustments in flight that you may be able to do here as well by adjusting the throttle, which seems to be shift to increase and control to decrease. It's not mentioned anywhere. I had to Google it. So anyway, this is probably the last Kerbal Space Adventure, as far as I'm concerned. Hope you guys enjoyed this and you know, got something out of looking at this series and whatever. It's good fun, and I'll probably go back to it at some point and play with it a little bit more. I'm not sure about its viewer entertainment value, but yeah, I don't think anyone wants to sit and watch me plan cities in SimCity 4 for hours on end either. So yeah, that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.